Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Mike Fay, and today we're going to review a match from the top 8 of the July 9th Road to Nationals event at Pandemonium Books and Games in Cambridge, Massachusetts. I have with me here our two competitors from the match, Joe Colon and Colby Homan. Joe, can you tell us a little bit about your Flesh and Blood career?
Been playing since Monarch, have several pro quests and like RTN wins, but like to me those don't really mean anything. I got a top 8 calling back at Vegas, but outside of that I've just been kind of either not going to events or I've just been occasionally like crashing and burning. Nationals, I was like 7-0, ran into Tarek, lost, and then crash and burn in the draft portion. Next big thing, I'm going to Pro Tour Lille.
Colby, can you tell us a little bit about your experience with Flesh and Blood?
I started playing after Crucible, between Crucible and Monarch, but I've been playing ever since. I haven't really accomplished much, but I tend to go to a lot of the local competitive events. But I have made a few top 8s, and I like playing janky decks.
So Joe, why did you bring Dromai to this event?
I played Dromai because I felt like it. I had no reps on it. I was like, I'm gonna play dragons, and I'm just gonna freaking hum the Game of Thrones theme song the whole time.
And can you tell me a little bit about this specific build of Dromai?
The initial take was it's a use tunic. When you had like viable hands and you had Ash, then you could just pitch a blue, jam like 2 or 3 dragons, and just kind of push in. At the beginning, you're probably trying to cast like a 2 drop or whatever, and just build up some Ash and block. And just kind of go back and forth and give up some life to get Ash. The deck's seen multiple iterations since this event.
Were there any specific decks that you were looking to target at this event?
No, I wasn't going in with the proposed meta and thought. I was just like, I'm gonna jam it, see what's going on, adjust throughout the event via like my sideboard stuff, and kind of just see where we're looking at.
So Colby, what was your reasoning behind playing Levia, and what type of Levia deck are you on?
I've played quite a bit of Levia, but I mostly play the Blood Debt Recursion build, and I've heard about the Pummel build for a long time. I decided to finally try it out because I figured if I'm expecting to see aggro in the field, I don't think the normal Levia build can really race that too well. Or at least if you are, you're expecting to high roll really hard to get the win. So I figured to try this build out, and it's a much slower build. Like obviously there's no blood debt, so you're never on a clock. The whole point of this deck is it's filled with a bunch of the classic D reacts, and it's supposed to stall until you get your third tunic counter, and you set up a 2-cost attack with the pummel and a tunic counter through a 3-card pummel.
So since this was a top 8 match, as the higher seed, Colby, you got to choose to go first or second, and you chose to go first.
So going first, I really just wanted to keep Joe from being able to like set up his dragons for free, and to also start the attack chain with getting an attack or a pummel in arsenal and starting the Fendel's tunic counters. So that was the whole rationale for going first.
Alright, so you start out with the Sigil in hand, which is pretty great. Turn 1 hand, and so it's just Sigil Arsenal pass.
Yep, didn't want to give him an option to mulligan.
Right, and Josie, you pitched a blue in Necria.
Yeah, red Necria first, and then into the blue to make sure that I build an Ash.
So are you planning on seeing that later in the game?
It was either Arsenal the Necria or Arsenal Command and Conquer. And since my dragons is gonna get popped either way, I'd rather just have the Command and Conquers early. If he blocks here with 2 cards, it's like okay, I get to see what his deck's actually comprised of. If not, I have a Command and Conquer. I can throw the Command and Conquer and pitch 2 reds again after to build up my Ash count. So if I hit a rake or anything, I'm already at 3 Ash.
Right. How many techs with Blood Debt are in this list? Is it just Hungering Slaughter Beast?
Well, yeah, Hungering Slaughterbeast is the only shadow card in the deck. I think.
It's almost irrelevant though because his deck wasn't predicated on doing that. It's just that the Hunter Slaughter Beast I think is just one of a few big attacks, and he's just not going to RFG Blood Dead at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, pitch a red, make more Ash. We got him for 1, boys. But yeah, I run a lot of Phantasm attacks that just have Raw go again, and I apparently pitched 2 more reds to build up.
All right, it kind of worked out that you played the Fate Foreseen first. It would have been awkward. Just it would have kind of stayed in your hand against the CNC.
There's gonna be a lot of hammer swings this game.
I like how you guys wrote in the fixed life points because we're like, we don't like this thing.
It is a lot to ask the the
Yeah.
players to keep track of life on the phone and on paper.
The early important part with Dromai tends to be if you build up the Ash, then you can set yourself up to like no block and then jam like 3 dragons at once, and that's where people start to have difficulties. This won't really matter in this match though because he's just gonna pop the crap out of my stuff.
And I believe this one is Uvia. Would you say Uvia is one of the is probably your strongest dragon in this matchup?
No, not exactly. 'Cause the general issue with Uvia is that it's like play Uvia, make this 1/1, swing with the 1/1, never swing with Uvia, and then Uvia is gonna get punched with the popper after. So they could take one and then pop Uvia, or they can like just punch her, or they can pop both essentially. But she's there to die pretty much. It's burn through poppers. But if they leave her there because they don't have the popper, then yeah, she's gonna start making a bunch of 1/1s. But realistically, the deck's so far behind as far as what it's doing into matches with a ton of poppers that it's any dragon's just irrelevant.
Although, yeah, Uvia is kind of a pain because the little dragons they're still annoying to deal with. Like, you don't want to have to spend a popper on one of them, especially because of how many dragons you end up having in your deck. I think I actually kill it with a barraging beatdown with the hammer.
Or Uvia does just demand another card from Levia because it doesn't die to just club.
The fact that it took you a tunic though and the sync blow was like, oh
Yeah, it must have been a really awkward hand.
yeah. This is the funny part where I realized after it's like oh my dragon. Oh, that's cool. I love the extra.
And it gets
life. It's so
confusing
cool.
because like a sigil gets played again.
I want to know. I now want to know how many rounds we go before we realize to fix it.
All right, so this is probably the most important dragon in the deck. Now the first dragon swinging in with no phantasm, so I mean you basically just get to swing with your strongest dragon without worrying about Levy just popping it for free.
Mm-hmm. The more smart part here too is that Necria is the Ash builder, so if you can get Necria and keep swinging with it, and it's not going to get popped, then even if they punch it back, you're like, all right, this is fine because you get a bunch of profit. And then I shot it with the Asvalon.
Good move.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. I was wondering how that ash got generated. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, Asvalon shot the Necria and him. It's like, give me raw.
Right, because it's up to 2 targets.
Yes.
Can each be dealt 1 arcane
Although
damage. Okay.
that does potentially reduce the number of attacks you can make with it, because hammer down it kills it.
But that's fine. Its entire job is to just die. If you kill that instead of Necria, I'm pretty happy usually, right? I mean, not the Necria, the mirror
You
guy.
have to kill the mirror guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, something I have played Prism in the past, and it is interesting the difference between Dromai and Prism, because like the Dromai is an interesting combination of both the Phantasm attack playstyle and like the Aura playstyle. And one of the benefits I saw during this is that you can play what are essentially onboard threats um, like the auras, but they also get to attack immediately for way more damage than the auras do.
And they're cheaper.
Yeah, and they're way cheaper.
Yeah, the general issue is like in both decks they're very inefficient. They're far more efficient here, but anyone that can swing multiple times is in a much better position to kind of just
Clear them all out.
come back, yeah, and just not put you in a great place board of state wise. Like if this is against Fi, my dragons never survive. but they also probably just don't get popped as much. So then it's like, okay, cool, but my face is gonna hurt a lot more.
Yeah, there's an interesting dichotomy that sort of comes with this matchup into Dromai. The Brutes and the Guardians have to worry about one type of threat that the aggro decks actually deal with quite easily.
Mm-hmm. But that's the thing though, is that like, okay, the slower decks outside of like, because all the Guardians just have a bunch of poppers, right? Brutes have a bunch of poppers, so it's just kind of like, okay, it's a different set. Different. This is a way different thing for like Dory. Anyone that just doesn't have the poppers, it can be like way more annoying, especially if they're like 1 to 2 single attacks. That's it. It pretty much feels like everyone has an answer, because you're either a go wide deck or you're like a crazy big deck.
So you played the Red Barraging Beatdown and swung club at face, so potentially 8 damage, forcing 2 cards, rather than killing the Necria here, which I think makes sense because
Yeah.
you're really not planning on swinging with Necria at all.
I can if he's protected.
That's right. Yeah, if there's a Mira guy on the board.
No, if another dragon got in, and I got in with like whatever baby dragons, and it's like, okay, you know, do I want to take the risk here? This thing's already got 3 counters on it, so it's gonna die to a hammer either way.
Yeah, and I think I just had I wanted to try to get to hit the face. Yeah, although I think I can see my hand. It looks like a potentially good one, because I think that's a CNC and a pummel I see in there. Yeah.
You're setting up pummel, yeah.
Alright. Alright, this is what the deck's supposed to do.
The general issue though is if you go command and conquer, you're just ignoring the dragon still.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not great. And I think I pitch a yellow there, which is actually kind of awkward. Would have preferred a blue. Yeah, and I have to pitch a red red pummel.
Yeah, that's another fate foreseen, sort of clogging up a hand when you really wish it would have been in blue.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a very efficient turn.
Yeah, although I do suspect that I do remember I think at this point in the game, my arsenal is also a red pummel. So I really should have actually blocked that Fate Foreseen and tried to throw the one in my hand into my deck to try to get a blue.
Right, and now 3 more turns until Tunica's at 3.
Mm-hmm.
Necria is fated to die. I think Necria is fated to die.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So if Joe had no Ash there, is the right play to swing face, to not let him generate any Ash?
Yeah, I think the important part there is he can't leave me with that thing to swing with every round.
Yeah, I was more concerned about my life total. I didn't want to waste poppers because I think at this point in the game I was realizing that I was getting close to realizing at least that I wasn't going to have enough 6-power attacks. I was actually sweating a little early.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just jamming stuff for forever. But the entire deck's just jammed. Jam them until you stop.
All right, so this is a pretty deadly combination that definitely warrants an awkward block.
He does have enough D-reacts in deck where he could probably just single card it.
Yeah, I think I do. Yep, there's a sync.
Yeah, he does. But to kill it, he then has to swap back, so he has to either take that or the mirror guy, and he has to decide what's the play. But since we're not getting popped here, it's just like, okay, push more stuff.
Can't let this around. It's a really awkward block if I don't have a popper.
So you chose to swing with Mirror Guy.
Yep.
Would that be considered a little greedy?
Not too much. Only so let's say I end my round. Okay, he maintains the popper. He just goes and kills Mirror Guy. When I first whatever dragon I swing with first next round, he just pops with the erase. So if I don't play a red to like get go again, he could just kill the Kyloria and be in the similar position. I largely wasn't concerned. I want to just eat through his hand. I'm just trying to get through all the poppers. I don't really care what's going on.
Okay, so you're not really prioritizing really any dragon. You just eventually I will have more dragons than you had poppers this game.
Yeah, at some point he will run out and he can only attack once. So then there's going to be issues. I should probably be looking for rakes at some point soon as well.
Yeah, I do think I remember you playing at least one.
Well, there's definitely 3 rakes in the deck. I think I might have just, like, if I did it, I would have pitched them early to get them later.
Yeah, just
Because at the
killing it.
beginning, we kind of don't get situated.
All right, and this is another pummel turn. The one in Arsenal finally gets to come out.
Right, that's been there for the full tunic tick up 3 turns.
I think this one I already knew and didn't care, because that's a Phantasmaclasm and a blue in hand with a Yendurai. I was going to have the ability to play both dragons and then the Phantasmaclasm. So the Yendurai I get pitched, I just won't use the tunic resource now.
Okay, yeah, and you sniff out the one popper I have in my hand. Yeah, and that's going to also be the last one I see. Yeah, we do get all the way down to the bottom of the deck, and I do see that again.
So you chose to take the full 9 damage, and we know that you have 2 Intimidate cards in your hand. So this is looking like a potentially high damage turn coming up for you.
Oh yeah, and this is the one of the fun things that this deck can do is all its blues are just 0 Intimidate, so you can just play them out and then hammer when you're with your opponent having 0 cards in hand.
What is the new Bellow card called?
Clearing Bellow. It came in the Rhinar versus Dorinthia deck. Currently, this is still doing what 4 because it's 2 barrage and beatdowns.
It should be 11.
Yeah, so it's a 7 plus 4 is 11. Yeah, still a big hit.
Okay, but here we see the counterplay via the Crown of Providence come in.
I was looking for a D-React. If I hit the D-React, I can stop all of the damage stuff.
Right.
Yeah, that would have been strong.
Yeah, because I was already blocking for 5. I would have went to 9 block, and your attack would have just been 4. More dragons.
Oh, I think this is close to when you just kind of go off. Because I remember there was a turn near the end that you just kind of play like 3 dragons in a single turn, and it gets a little unmanageable.
Yeah, when you get Chromai Mirror Guy together, it becomes real unmanageable for like the number of things that are like arsenaled. Go to 1 action for the swing. It blocks, doesn't matter. Go to 2 actions. Go, little dinky dragon. Get him. Asvala, eat his ankle too.
So do I pop this?
Probably. I'm going to assume you pop it and I come in with the Ghostly, but I don't really know. Because I'm not swinging with Mirror Guy here.
Oh, okay.
Findos Fighting Spirit.
Great card for this matchup, actually.
It's a great popper. That extra life really comes into play quite a bit.
This is where you got a question from Gutsy. I'm like, do you got more poppers?
I don't think I have it, but we'll see.
If you don't block here, what ends up happening is I immediately swing with the Ghostly.
Oh yeah. At this point, I'm just conserving life.
Yeah. Arguably speaking, though, that's a rake in my hand. I should consider just jamming it. Yeah. Okay. I tunic for the Ghostly here. That's what it is. And then I swing for 4 because you would have popped the Mirror Guy if you had it. I'll get back to my 1 on the tunic. And the rake I can set up for 3 baby dragons next round. You have to decide whether to kill Mirror Guy or Chromite since you can't kill both unless you can foot and get them. So then I still get to try to do stuff next round through potentially 2 poppers.
Yeah, and Mirror Guy goes.
Yep. Arguably speaking, Chromite is considerably the correct kill because what ends up happening is if I play a red, the Chromite gets the swing. And if you pop the Chromite, then I still have an action. I can try to go through a second popper. Whereas the Mirror Guy just gets me 1 attack in. But as soon as you pop anything, like my round's done.
I don't think I should have been wasting
Not on that, no.
wasting poppers on your non-dragons.
Colby, what's usually the average number of poppers per hand? Is it like between 1 and 2, or is it like right around 2?
I think the deck list is running about 20. So I think the average is about like 1.5.
Okay.
Yeah, because this deck doesn't rely on just swinging every turn with the 2-cost attacks. It really only needs one once every 3 turns.
And then yeah, so once they get in, it's like okay, coast is clear. You might be trying to scheme for the ghostly, but we'll find out in a second. 'Cause this man will draw cards if you let him. And you did have another popper.
He was sneaking one behind, but you still can potentially ghostly, but I don't think you do.
I do.
Yeah, okay.
I smell out that you were trying to wait for the ghostly, and then you were like, oh, I can't let Caloria hit. So then you're just
True,
like,
true.
because if you had an additional popper past that, you would have killed the Chromai. So you probably just went, oh, I can't let him get Kyloria and draw. So then once you pop that, I'm like, okay, he probably doesn't have 2 because of that.
Dromai is obviously not sticking around. And then Joe, you choose to just threaten damage with more Phantasm attacks.
But yeah, I think you were making massive mistakes when you were popping these other attacks. Because arguably, if you put 2 cards there and then just pop whatever dragon, you could still swing in with your hammer.
Yeah, I was currently concerned about my life total at this point, but yeah, I think I should have been much more conservative about when I pop attacks. But yeah, that's actually why I asked to see this game, because I went in feeling confident and then I just kind of flubbed it.
Oh, it also doesn't help that I was like literally blocking.
Yeah.
And my deck's probably like 68 cards or something when I'm playing you.
Yeah, I think you keep one. Yeah, you only make 2 dragons.
Yeah. Life gets real hard if you draw the freaking dragons and you don't have an Ash to start.
Oh,
Boom! Killed my baby dragon. He's like, done with
yeah.
you.
I'm sitting here being like having flashbacks of prism Kadachis. And I'm like, nah, I need this. I can't get the stack up.
Right, because that saves you 2 more damage on this turn and then taking away 1 Ashwing. So blocking with a 1 Command and Conquer ends up saving you at least 3 life.
It's an okay block.
I know I got 2 Phantasm attacks and a rake in hand. I'm looking at this like, what if I want a rake? And I'm like, I think I do, but no. Here's an attack. I don't care.
Another Dunebreaker, yeah.
Yeah.
Just threatening my life total.
Nope. Still not playing rakes. Don't care. Here's more 5s.
Okay, so that's a pop.
Yeah. I tunic it just because I can.
So in hindsight, would you have done anything differently?
So I could rake here instead and get 3/1/1s and then try to swing. The only dilemma is he has equipment still. So I'm trying to because he's at like 3. The goal is to just eat up his cards. So I think I tunic there to keep going and then try to poke for 1.
Ugh.
He pops this one too.
I think that was actually the last swing big that I told. Like I said, was going to come back.
Right, so that was tuning for footsteps just to be able to swing
For 1.
for 1.
Yeah.
Which strips a card from his hand and also increases the power on your ghostly touch. It smells like a pummel turn, but it is just on the club, so it is just damage.
Yep.
And that looks like a blue pummel, so it's coming in for just
6.
6 damage right now.
Yeah, we really would have preferred that swing big in my hand, but for the pummel, but you pulled it out.
You'll notice that Joe's ghostly touch is at 9 counters now, so at this point, if he attacks with it and it isn't getting popped, it is probably winning him the game.
Catch of this round's on me. We're going to deck you up.
Yeah, I'm lower on deck on you. Lower on deck than you, and are.
I think I was thinking whether I want to come with the ghostly that's massive. And I was like, unnecessary. Command and Conquer. Let's get cards. Do we draw the semblance again? Here's a Necria. I don't need this.
Yeah, is that the Necria and the Semblance that you pitched turn 1 or 2?
At the beginning of the game? No. I think I already drew that Necria back. They could be, though.
No threat of a pummel this turn without another card in the tunic counter. So Joe, you're free to just block with the most useless card in your hand, which in this case is Necria.
Just keep making ash.
Need all the ash. Yeah, it was a 0-cost dragon. So if the baby dragon had got in that other round, put him to 2, the Azalai would have came in and put him to 1. Because I would have got for 1 arcane and swung for 2, and then he'd have to probably block with Skullcap or a card in hand.
Right. And Azalai only swings in for 2.
2 and an arcane.
2 and an arcane.
This is where I go. The Azalai didn't die. Activate. Form of a ghostly touch.
So with no poppers in hand, we finally see the equipment come out to block just to keep you alive. Okay, so there's blocking 2 equipment, 2 from the pommel, and then 8 total with the sink. Yes, that's a full block. So that leaves only 1 block left on Tunic.
He realizes after, he's like, wait, I can't swing
Yeah.
That's stupid.
I remember you play one of the legendary dragons right before, I think it might be on the last turn, actually. Oh, this game lasted so long.
Rawr, more 1/1s. Make them, big them.
Yeah, the game is able to sort of grind itself out at this life total where things get popped and you're always able to sort of swing back at least club for 4. As more and more cards are just getting stripped out of your hand each turn, it's harder to do anything more than just swing for 4.
Tunic for the Yenderai, who is like awful in this match, except that he can sit and play and just not swing and be like, you can't club me. You got a club pummel. Get out of here.
You would say that Yenderai is awful in this matchup?
For swinging. For swinging. For sitting and play is good. If I'm just going to play him and leave him there and then like try to force you to deal with him with a popper, without kind of like letting you still have a round, he's very good. But if you swing with him and he gets popped, he's miserable. He never did his job.
That's true. He got pitched most of this game.
Yeah. You wait till the end and then you hope, because if he gets into for 3, then he has to get hit for 6 in order to die.
If you've pretty effectively cleared the deck of poppers, then
Yeah, he starts to become much better.
Yeah.
Yes, now we have a legendary dragon in hand.
Yep. And this is what kills me.
Rawr.
Not the mini itself, but the trigger. Because I'm pretty sure that eats the popper from my hand.
Woo! Let's go see that hand.
Not a very difficult choice to be made here.
Got him.
Yeah, so getting the full information from Dominia is pretty strong in this matchup.
Well, the information's part of it. Generally, it's gonna like take 2 poppers out. But if you can hit it with a mirror guy, then yeah, you can make life real annoying.
Yeah, I'm just blocking out, and then you.
It's like, here's my Uvia.
Actually, throw the OV out. Throw my Tunic in the way.
Activate form of a ghostly. Get him.
And a die.
Ugh.
Thanks everyone for watching. If you want to see more content like this, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.